it's J and J here.
What's going on, people?
And we said that we were going to come to you today to talk about our awesome trip that we just booked. And we only spent $543 round trip per person. And check this, we're going to London, Amsterdam,
Speak on it.
Santorini, Greece,
Say it again.
Barcelona, Spain,
All right.
and back home again.
Bruh.
And all we spent was $543 to do all of that.
Let's talk about it.
Now, I wanted to let everybody know how we did this, because a lot of times I do get inboxes and everybody's asking me, do I use a travel agent? How did you get these deals and all that kind of stuff? We don't have any special codes or anything like that, no discount codes. And let me just say this. This video is not for the bougie traveler.
No.
What's the bougie traveler? I would say
I need to be in first class.
First class. They need to take 12 bags with them.
Oh, I need all my shoes to come.
You need everything in your closet.
I'm gonna be gone for 5
Yeah. All of that, you know, you need all of that. That's not for the bougie traveler. Now, it's definitely economy flights, but I mean, they're comfortable. They give you everything that you need. I mean, when we fly to Europe, we get meals on all of our flights. The last Shaman Airlines, when we went to Bali, we went to Bali for $485 per person round trip. And it wasn't a direct flight, because obviously you can't go direct. But it was a layover, but they fed us like kings and queens on this thing.
Every damn half hour or hour you was eating.
We were eating. And they gave us a free room. So, I mean, these are good airlines and all that. So, let's get into our tips for how you can travel for less than, well, I don't want to give a number, but how you can travel and get your travel done for less, more economical, and more efficiently. So, tip number 1, don't be loyal to an airline.
That's right.
Okay, so for this, I would say a lot of times people are always saying, well, I always fly Southwest, or I always fly American. Well, you can't but if you always have to fly that airline, you'll never get the deals. You're always going to miss out. For one, those airlines have certain days and times that they fly, so you're only going to be able to go on those days, and then you're only going to get those rates. So if you are only looking for this one certain airline, you're going to be locked into that price, whereas there may be another airline that has the same flight. It's going to get you there just the same as that one would, but it's like $300 cheaper. And
you might be less of soda and a bag of peanuts. But
one soda, one peanuts, but you can spend $3 and get you a soda and some peanuts, you know? So I would say don't be loyal to an airline. Now, I have my favorite airlines. I don't know if Jason does, but I have mine. I have 3. JetBlue, Frontier, and Spirit. Now, before you jump on me about Spirit and Frontier, they have been good to me, and they have assisted me with flying all around the continental U.S. I've gotten free flights. I've gotten credit vouchers for little stuff as little as a 1-hour delay, and they will give me a full flight credit. I am the type of person, I never check bags, so I don't have any problem with bags and all that kind of stuff. And I don't pay for seats. When we book our flights, we book it together, and we've always sat together, so we don't have to worry about choosing a seat. And we usually always get bumped up to the exit row, so he gets his extra leg room. So those are my airlines, but with all things considered and all things equal, as long as, you know, everything else is the same, I'm going to go with the cheaper flight. But if everything's the same, then I would choose JetBlue first, and then I would go with Frontier and then Spirit. So that's mine. Do you have your favorite airlines?
No, in that order.
In that order? Yeah.
Same as yours, in that order.
Yeah.
I like the one that when the plane lands. Yeah,
that's all of them. Yeah. All right. So, tip number 2.
Let the deals plan your trip.
Let the deals plan your trips.
When we say this, we mean, like, for instance, you have a birthday coming up in March. All right? You go to look for a flight in March, and it's very expensive. But if you search the whole month of March, you know, you may find a deal a week or so after your birthday, maybe a week or two before your birthday at a better price. And, you know, you can plan your trip that way. That's mainly how we do it.
Celebrate your birthday the week before.
We look at the month or time of day we want to go somewhere, and we scan the month and see what works for us, and we plan our trip that way. Yeah. So that's the best way to plan your trip. You don't want to just say, I'm available this day, so I'm going to go book a flight on this day, and then you got a $2,000 flight to pay for. That's a little extreme. So
yeah, the
best way to do it is to go ahead and, you know, search the month out that you want to take off and pick the week that works for you at the better price.
Yeah, that's what we did for this one. For this one, we knew that we wanted to... The real reason that we're going is we wanted to go to Amsterdam, and I believe we wanted to also go to Greece. And so we just did a general search on when is the best time to go, and we realized that leaving on March 31st was going to be the best way to go. And so once we knew when we wanted to go and when we wanted to come back, we kind of filled everything else in based on the best prices. So that told us that on the 3rd, there was the best price to leave Amsterdam to go to Santorini. So we knew whatever we had to do, we need to be in London and in Amsterdam and out by the 3rd. And then we knew that on the 7th, that was the best time to go to Barcelona. So we needed to plan our trip around that. So you plan your trip around the deals, not your trip around your availability. So you have to have that. Tip number 3, be flexible. With being flexible, you have to be, I guess we've kind of touched on it, but you have to be flexible with your dates, but also with your entry and your exit points. You know, we live here in the Central Florida area, so we're leaving out of Orlando, but I always search also, I mean, Tampa, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. Where can I fly out of within this radius? If it's going to save me $200, listen, I'm going to spend $30 in gas and save $200. I will give you one example. Was when we went to Canada. We were very flexible. We flew into Vermont and we drove 4 hours into Quebec, and we saved a load of money doing that. So we saved a lot of money by going into Vermont and flying into Quebec. And by a lot of money, when I looked at the prices in December to fly into Quebec, Canada, we're talking $600 per person. Well, we spent $88 per person to fly into Vermont, and then we spent $100 on a rental car to drive us into there. So we saved a lot of money. So being flexible on that. And also, we were flexible on coming back as well. So the reason that we decided to fly from Greece into Barcelona was because flying back home from London, I think it was going to be a $100 ticket to go to London and then $350 to fly from London to home. Well, that's $450 to get us home. But if we flew to Barcelona, that was $60. And then from Barcelona to Fort Lauderdale was only $200, actually $197. So we got home for $260. So, I mean, we got home for $200, but and we're going to spend a whole day and a night in Barcelona. So being flexible helps you to find the deals and to save some money. So number 4.
Be creative.
Be creative.
Well, this whole be creative aspect of the situation, this whole planning a great trip, you want to, how do I say it?
With being creative, I think it again ties into being flexible.
Yeah, that's what
you want to think outside of the box on your trip. I'll give you my creative example for planning this trip. I was actually planning it with my cousin. And so we knew we wanted to go. I had to sit down and literally say, hold up, girl. I'm going to call you back. And I sat down with a piece of paper. And I wrote down every single flight, the date, the time, and the price. And I kind of said, okay, here's the Amsterdam to Santorini options. And here's the Santorini to Barcelona options. And then I went back. So I had to sit down and be creative with how we're going to get there, what we're going to do. And that's what led me, because it was either out of Barcelona or the London when we discovered that it was Barcelona that was easier to get back home and to Fort Lauderdale. So being creative is exactly that. Just be creative on your entry and your exit points that has to do with being flexible. And it's all about just, at the end of the day, I need to be in Florida. At the end of the day, I don't need to necessarily be back in Orlando, and I don't have to come through the same entry point.
I can drive for a while.
You don't have to buy round trip tickets. And for the most part, buying a round trip ticket doesn't save you money. Now, I will say there are times when there are, because I've been looking at a flight and it was a round trip, and I noticed that when it's round trip, it was like $600 round trip, but when I wanted a one-way ticket, it was like $500. So I was like, whoa, like that's different. But normally, if it's a round trip, they just add the two prices together. So also with payment plans, a lot of people are looking for like a payment plan. Well, almost all the time that I book trips, and I'll say 99% of the time, I'm always booking it piece by piece. So, for instance, on this trip, we booked our London trip back in January. Orlando to London was $142. And then a week later, the London to Amsterdam part, we paid, I think it was like $30. Yeah, we paid that a week later. And then 2 weeks later, $122 from Amsterdam to Santorini. That was like, 2-3 weeks later. And then just yesterday, we booked 2 weeks after that, we booked Santorini to Barcelona for $60. And then just yesterday, we booked Barcelona to home for $200. And I mean, we leave in like less than 3 weeks. So booking it that way, it gives you the opportunity to spread it out. You don't have to, do a payment plan with anybody. You can just book it as the money becomes available. Now, doing this, you are risking several things. I must warn you. Doing it that way, you are risking that the flights can change and that there won't be any availability. For instance, when we booked our Santorini trip, the only day we could leave Amsterdam to go to Santorini was going to be on Friday the 3rd. The reason is because the day before, the tickets were like $400. The day after, the tickets are $300 on Saturday. But on that Friday morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, it's only $122. So when we booked it, my cousin booked it all together. And she says, cousin, we got the last 4 tickets at that price. I said, look at God. Yes.
Won't he do it?
So won't he do it? Won't he will. So yes, when doing that, you may, you run that risk. But I mean, I have not had anything bad happen yet. So that's all I'll say on that, and that warning on that. But that's how you have to do if you want to travel on a budget, because traveling is very possible on any budget. Yes. I mean, $543 to go to 4 different countries is awesome.
Amazing. People
spend that on eating out every month. I mean, if you can eat out every month, you can go on a 4-country trip. Yeah. The last thing I would say would be to use sites like Google Flights and Skyscanner. Google Flights is awesome. If you go to Google Flights, you can plug in your departure point. So let's say you put in Orlando, and then for your exit, you don't even have to put anywhere. You can just see more destinations. And Google Flights will pop up. And I'm going to see if I could insert a clip, like if I can do a screen share right here, but it will pop up for you a map, like a 3D map, and you can move it around, and you can see all different prices. You can adjust it if you want non-stop, 1 stop, 2 stop, you want it to be a full day or whatever. You can look for the whole month of March. You can look for specific days, and it'll tell you what the prices are, round trip, one way, and so forth. Skyscanner is another thing that I use. Not so much for the prices, though. I mean, yeah, for the prices, but for the general aspect of, for instance, if I want to go to Africa.
Take care.
But when I go to Skyscanner, I'm going there to find out what is the cheapest city to fly out of and into a city. So, for instance, if I wanted to go to Cameroon, Africa, I could put Cameroon, Africa as my exit point or whatever, and I could just put everywhere. And it'll tell me in order of price from lowest to high, what's the cheapest city going in and out. So then I can say, oh, so it looks like if I go to Turkey, it's really cheap to get into there. So that's kind of what I use Skyscanner for. Maybe you use it for something different.
Price. It's price.
It's prices.
Dates and prices.
Yeah. But using those sites, don't be loyal to, don't have to be stuck to an airline. Like if I don't go to this airline, because at the end of the day, all the airlines going to get you there. You know, I saw someone say once somewhere, and they were saying how, listen, if you went with your bougie airline and I flew from here to Miami and I flew on Spirit from here to Miami, aren't we both going to get to Miami? I just won't have a bag of peanuts and a cup of water, but we still going to get there. But you spent $300 more than I did.
Exactly.
I can use that $300 to do another flight. But that's all we have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching.
Yes, like, comment, subscribe.
Yes, and be on the lookout for our getting ready for our trip, because we leave in like, I forgot when it is, about maybe 2-3 weeks now for our big trip. Amsterdam, Santorini, Barcelona. It's about to go down. Thanks, guys.
Until next time.
Bye.